Hi guys, we're here in Harlequins Blackpool. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Evie and I am the store manager here in Blackpool. This is the first time I've gotten my hands on the camera, so don't expect the same quality of filming as you get from Tom. Today we've got a special guest with us called Tristan Hall, whose new game, Gloom of Kilforth, is out next week, which you'll be able to buy from both Harlequins Preston and Harlequins Blackpool. So let's go and have a chat to him about his new game, 1066, Tears to Many Mothers. Hi Tristan.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
Alright.
So, tell us a bit about this game.
Okay.
1066, Tears to Many Mothers.
Yes, this one.
That one.
Live on Kickstarter now. 18 months ago we fully funded our first game, Gloom of Kilforth. This one. A fantasy quest game. So this is our RPG in a box style adventure game, and now that it's arrived, it shipped out basically this week, so all the backers have been getting it just this week. It's like our calling card to show that we can produce a game, and hopefully, a really good game at that. We've had our artist Anya Kritzkowska, the Polish girl, illustrate all of the images herself, and it's like nearly 300 images, and it's absolutely
the artwork in that's really pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can we have a look at some of the cards?
Play a few of these cards so you can get
because I know I've seen them and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge feature, huge selling point is that all of the adventures in the game are unique. So all of the artwork is unique and pretty gorgeous. And so it's done really well. We've obviously we hit our funding. I bought a few hundred extra copies as well, and we sold a load to late pledgers and late backers. And we're almost sold out already, actually. So it's been going really well. It's been getting really good feedback from the early adopters, from the people who've been opening their copies and stuff. And we've had some solo session reports and things go up on Board Game Geek and that. So this is our sort of completed project. Really happy with it and everything. And at UK Games Expo this weekend, we launched project number 2, so this is what brings us to 1066, Tears to Many Mothers. So it's a very different style game. This is a 1 to 2 player card game that you can play in your lunch break. It's a very fast playing game which recreates the Battle of Hastings. So Anya is back to do the artwork, so whilst it's not a fantasy adventure game, she is going to give us really gorgeous looking beautiful artwork all over again.
Yeah, it is definitely good.
And this is sort of a recreation of the Battle of Hastings, so each player plays as either Normans or Saxons. And we've already got some illustrations up front. There's a lot of blank cards here because the funds from the Kickstarter will allow us to pay for the rest of the artwork. And we've already funded as well, so at the moment we're... hello sir. We're already unlocking sort of Kickstarter stretch goal extras, and which you'll be, of course, illustrating. And yeah, it's a fast-playing card game that recreates the Battle of Hastings, a sort of Magic the Gathering style game where you don't have to collect loads of expansions or anything. Everything you get, everything you need is in the box. So each player plays as William and Harold, trying to overcome a series of historical objectives that William and Harold had to overcome in order to get to Hastings and go to war. So each player is building their armies throughout the game to try and make them as efficient as possible before they meet on the Battle of Hastings and duke it out and try to destroy each other and rewrite history. And that's kind of the game in a nutshell. We've also got complete solo rules, so we've got a load of solo players on Board Game Geek from the One Player Guild who've come on and helped us design a bot, an AI for the other player, so you can play it as a 1 to 2 player card game. And we're on Kickstarter now. We need all the help we can get to sort of unlock more stretch goals and make it the coolest game we possibly can.
So what was your inspiration for the Battle of Hastings?
Well, I think every British kid knows about it from having learned about it in school and everything. And I was probably one of the slightly nerdier types who went and studied it at medieval history at college as well. And it always stayed with me, just the romantic idea of this battle that could have gone either way and rewrote the entire history of Britain in just one day, basically. So I think it was always sort of at the back of my mind as a project I'd like to pursue at some level, either writing about it. And then when the idea came to me to do a 1 to 2 player card game, I thought, you know, we can integrate all that history into the game. So instead of like playing the game and learning about Pikachu stats or things like that, people might be able to come away from it learning a little bit about the actual history and the real people who were present. So every single card in the game is based on either a character or a unit or an event or something that actually happened at the Battle of Hastings. So the history is all in the game. The flavour text on each of the cards tells you a little bit about the history of that sort of character or that unit and why they were there or who they were.
So here we've got Norman infantry would often use axes in close combat, but these were much smaller and less effective than Saxon's deadly two-handed battle axes. That's quite interesting.
So in that regard, the Saxon two-handed battle axemen would be more powerful than, for example, the Norman axemen. So
and is that reflected in the
It's reflected
card?
in the stats of the characters, right? So in the Doomsday Book, it tells you how many ships all of the Norman vassals brought over from Normandy. So Bishop Odo, for example, brought like 100 ships over from Normandy. So he's a more powerful character in the game than someone who brought over, say, 10 ships. And similarly, the Saxon characters are reflected in the same sort of way. So Harold's brothers were really influential, Gurth and Leofwin. You can bring them in as really high-cost, high-power characters to help support him on that side of the battle as well. But every sort of story that you can think of about the Battle of Hastings is represented in the game in some way. So we've even got like an arrow in the eye card, and they're stopping for lunch because at one point in the middle of the battle the bodies were piled so high the two sides couldn't get at each other, so they had to physically stop, go and have the lunch and come back and duke it out. So that even cards like that are represented in the game. The Normans prepped before the battle by praying because William was very pious, so he had all his men sit around, gather and pray. Meanwhile on the Saxon side the men were drinking and singing, so they've got a drinking and singing card in their deck. So the two decks are completely asymmetrical and represent the characters and units on either side of the battle. But we spent years, I mean the game's been in development for close to 5 years now, so we spent years sort of tweaking the balance backwards and forwards between the two sides to try and make it as even as possible in an asymmetrical game. So
we're not going to expect the same outcome as the Battle of Hastings in the game.
You will rewrite history in every single version of the game, yeah. So it's really sort of exciting for me to put a little bit back there that isn't, you know, if I want some sort of fantasy or sci-fi or whatever, but is still a really compelling theatre of conflict. And so because it's already funded, that's on its way. We're going to, as I say, unlock more stretch goals and stuff and make the game bigger and better. But once it's out there in the public, in the hands of backers, we could potentially do other battlefields as well. So we could, you know, visit the Siege of Malta or Agincourt or the American Civil War, any one of these sort of amazing battles that happen in history, and maybe sort of transplant armies from different time periods and help them battle together. So it's just
it could be the start in a series of historical card games then?
Yeah, potentially. You know, if there's demand for it, people come back. I'd love to sort of explore more areas of history and stuff. And you know, if we could, I think it taps into that sort of gamification and education thing that a lot of people talk about and don't really act upon. But like, if people could come away from this subliminally learning a little bit about history, I'd be chuffed to bits. You know, and if they enjoy the sort of gameplay as well, like the back and forth takedown style, fast-paced two-player gameplay, then I think that would be cool to sell point as well.
Are you looking forward to demoing it tonight?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what people think of it and whether or not they'll jump on board and help us out.
So I'm guessing you've spent all weekend at Expo demoing it.
Absolutely. So
what were people's reactions then?
It was brilliant. I mean, every single day we would get out in the stands, they'd have a look at our first game, Gloom of Kilforth, tell them a little bit about that, and then tell them that if they like our style and what we're doing, we're live on Kickstarter, and we'd get like a backer bump, we called it, from people experiencing it firsthand. Hello sir, can I give you a flyer?
Yeah, I'm coming over.
Brilliant. It's like my instinctive response now to say hello to anybody is to follow it up with a pitch. But yeah, so we had a really positive response this weekend, and I think you know, that helped lead towards us actually hitting that funding goal. So now it's a really exciting position to be in to see whether you can explore more of the stretch goals and extra content that we can feed into the game.
Alright, okay, well I think most people who are wanting to try it out have finished playing their games now, so I will leave you to it.
Brilliant, thanks very much for having me.
No worries, great to have you.
Cheers.
So there you have it, first hand, the new game from the creator of Gloom of Kilforth, Tristan Hall.